Okay, we're going to move on to some concepts of algebraic expressions. Listen to me, they're basic concepts, okay? Now listen. Solve the equation negative 4x cubed equals 32. Do not let this equation intimidate you because it did. All it means is that x's value has been cubed for you to solve it. So I'll say that again. X's value has been cubed for you to solve it. So I'm going to use this word or these words, like terms. Okay? Your like term is your negative 4 here, and your other like term is here. Until you do something with these two, you cannot move forward with this equation. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this here. You cannot do anything until you move forward with this equation. So now you use the multiplicative inverse of 4. When you multiply negative 4, you have to remember it's like a fraction. So the inverse is negative 1/4. And I have that over here. I put a dot here for multiplying. And then we're just going to multiply this out. And I'm going to go ahead and erase this so you don't think I'm writing double. Okay, just wanted to show you the concept. Okay, so now we have this here, negative 1/4 times negative 4 over 1, and you leave this alone, although this is very close to it, and you take this negative 4th and whatever you do to this side of the equation, most of the times you have to do to this side of the equation. Okay, and so now you have negative 4 over 1, which essentially comes out to negative 4x cubed equals 32 times negative 1/4, or 32 over 1 equals negative 1/4. And so when you multiply this out, 32 times negative 1 is negative 32, and 1 times 4 is 4. So you have negative 32 over 4, and already your mind has to think, because you're dividing, the answer to this is going to have something negative in it. Okay, now you have x cubed or x times x equals, what is 4 into negative 32? It's negative 8. Okay, so what do you know about square roots and cubed roots? You know that the cubed root of 8 is 2. See, if you can attach knowledge you learned in one part of the class to another part, you can get this information. So let's move on. Now, the new equation is x cubed equals negative 8. Now, 3 is odd. So you have to think, I might have a negative number. If this were x cubed, you might have a positive number because this is even. But if you use the logic to do some of these things, they'll come to you. And if you play this video or any video over and over, it'll start coming to you. Okay, so this number here is odd. Okay, so we should have something going on with this negative. You might end up negative. Now, we did tell you that you never have a negative sign over the brackets. Well, we're solving for a variable, so once again, here's one of those mathematical facts you need to ignore. But here's the thing you don't ignore, that in order to get rid of this 3, you've got to throw a cubed root sign here. And let's get this straightened out here. This has to be a cubed root because this is a cubed root. Okay? So now over here, x equals cubed root of negative 8, which is negative 2, and why? Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. But times it times a negative 2, it equals negative 8. So what is your answer? It's 2. It's negative 2. Sorry, it's not 2, it's negative 2. All these negative 2's cubed give you your answer. Okay, now let's go on to the next. Cross multiply this equation. Actually, I got this out of a section of an algebra book here, and you solve the equation. It didn't say cross multiply. You have to know what to do. You have a fraction, and you don't have a fraction over here. So 1 over x plus 4 equals 5. You have to do something. So you see all these little colored lines? I'm going to do them for you here. So this is 5x. This is a plus sign. Plus 20. I'm going to cross multiply the ones, and 1 times 1 is always 1. And because you're cross multiplying, you have an equal sign. You have to have some of it on one side, some of it the other side, and it goes over. That's how it works. Like terms. And here is what you want to do. You want to try to get your like terms together. So you have a 20 over here. You have a 1 over here. You subtract negative 20 out. Negative 20 out. How's everyone doing? We've been doing problems all day. We're getting a little bit exhausted, but the good thing is we already did the slides and we checked them, so they're right. It's 5x. So 5x equals negative 19. You know already, because 5 can't divide evenly into 19, you're going to have a decimal or a fraction or both, depending upon how you want to write it. So now you have negative 19 equals 5x, and you're going to use the multiplicative inverse. Why are you using the multiplicative inverse? Why are you doing that? Because of a simple thing. 5x says 5 times x. This here means 5 times the variable x equals 5x, so you're multiplying. Try to think about what's going on. It gets easier for you. Okay, so the multiplicative inverse of 5 was, remember, this is 5 over 1. It's going to be 1/5. If you can just remember that if you can remember the same thing, cross multiplying, they cancel out. Okay? Now, they cancel. This is this, but then this 1/5 gets dropped over here, and then this comes out to negative 19 over 5. So we showed this here. You just multiply out. Negative 19 times 1 is negative 19. 5 times 1 is 5. That equals x. Now, here's what's going on. You have a negative number, so go ahead and put it out. 5 into 19. 5 times 4 is too big. So it's negative 3, which is 15. Your answer is 4. Here's your decimal. It's negative 3 and 4/5. Okay? 4/5 is 80. So some people, I don't know if you look this answer up or not, might have 3.80. But they're basically the same thing. Okay? Now, this is a horror story if you don't think about what's going on, because unfortunately you have a fraction, but you have a non-fraction in front. So you can always think of it as 2 over 1, but originally the equation is 2 minus 1 over x plus 3 equals 1 plus x plus 3. So what you want to do is make sure that you can move this 2 over so you can look at this as what it is. And you're going to move it over, but you're going to leave this negative sign here, and you're going to subtract it so that you can subtract it out. Actually, you're going to subtract it on the other side of this equation, so the other side of the equal equation. Okay, so that's going to be minus 2 over here. Why are we doing this? Because we've got to get these fractions together. And we've got to get rid of this guy who came to the dance without a partner. Okay? We're going to dance with him for a bit, but then we have to get rid of him so that we can keep doing our dancing or moving and having fun. Just think of it like that. Hopefully you wouldn't be that rude. So you have a common denominator on both sides, so we need to take care of the constant, which is negative 2. And when we take care of the constant, we still, again, have this negative sign over here. Now, you can subtract this negative 1 minus this negative 1. We're subtracting. That's a subtraction sign. Negative 1 minus 1 equals negative 2. How do you know? Let's pretend you're adding. I used to do this. My teachers used to tell me to do this when I was little. Make it a positive, make it a this, and now you know you're adding. Negative 1 minus 1 equals negative 2. So that's how you get this negative 2 over here plus the x plus the 3. This is a denominator. This is a denominator. We don't combine those. What happens is, because they're the same, they cancel out. And that's how you get negative 2 over x plus 3. And since this was on the other side of the equal sign, you leave this guy over here by himself. Let's go. Now, we can multiply by both expressions. Negative 2 times x plus negative 2 times 3. There's a plus. And let's look what's going on here on the other slide. Okay? It becomes negative 2x because this negative 2 went and grabbed this x, and he said, hey, multiply with me, negative 2 times x, and then this went, negative 2, come over here and dance with me, but I'm positive, and he came back as a negative 6 because of this negative 2. So now you have negative 2 equals negative 2x plus 6. Now you can solve for x. But in order to do that, what do we do? Let's use this word again. Like terms. Like terms. Minus 6 plus 6 plus 6, this is 4, equals negative 2x. Multiply. Multiplicative inverse. What is the inverse of 2? If this is negative 2 over 1, as I should say, its inverse is negative 1 over 2. Okay? And so this would be 4 over 1 times negative 1 over 2, which I put the negative here. But you could do it this way, negative 4 over 2. And then you do what? You divide 2 into negative 4. You're going to get a negative 2. Stick it out. Why? Now you are multiplying and dividing. A positive times a positive is a positive, but a positive times a negative is a negative. So your answer is negative 2. You're done. Play this back so that you start understanding what's going on.